Oh, hey. Gotta wait for some of y'all to get in here, okay? Because you know what it is. It is what it is. I just want to chat about a few witchy topics that I had on my mind tonight. And I thought maybe we could have a conversation together, right? We could try and have a conversation together. You know, nice. My hair is just a mess. It's just a disaster. I'm sorry that you have to witness that, but it is what it is. There's nothing I can do to fix it. I look like trash. I'm sorry. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is what do you do with your freezer jar spells or your jar spells that you have? Let's say you did a jar spell to bring you money, and now you have the money and you have this jar left over, and you're like, what do I do with this? I would not suggest reusing them. I have seen in some Facebook groups that people will suggest to empty them out, clean them out, remove the contents. Because it's a jar, you can recycle them. And I'm like, in theory, you could do that. Yeah, you could desecrate this magic that you have worked. Sort of. I don't know. What people stick into jars, I don't think you want to be reopening that. Right? And I don't think the amount of bleach in the world is going to clean that off. So I do not suggest that if you have a jar spell that you've been working and you're done now, like the spell has come to fruition, things have worked out, the magic is manifested, and you're just sitting around with this defunct jar now, that you don't recycle it. You throw it away. I mean, some witches, I don't know, they think that throwing that type of thing away is like bad, or it's negative, or it's not evil, but like that it will undo the work that you've done. Like it's disrespectful is where I'm going with that, especially if you worked with deities or certain types of spirits in order to work that jar magic. They won't want you to just throw that shit away, right? So some of them will bury the jars in their backyard, but you might be thinking, I live in an apartment building. I don't care where you live. The point is that people will sometimes bury that shit, or they will burn it. I don't know why you would burn a jar, but oh, you do whatever it is that you do, girl. You do you. Or some people will throw them in the river. And I don't suggest that you throw jars into the river, but I mean, I can't tell you how to run your craft, right? This is 2021, not 2020, where we tell you how to run your craft. Do you guys miss 2020 at all? I totally miss 2020. It was so chaotic and hectic. I mean, it's hectic and chaotic today, right now, but it's okay. I've used an apple instead of a jar. I'm trying to figure things out, and I think what you're meaning is you've carved the apple out. I don't know. You can use anything for the actual, like the container of what you're putting your contents into. So I've used clay jars that I have made, like the self-drying clay jars, and I've mostly used glass. I prefer glass. It looks nice and it looks shiny. And in my craft, I just dispose of the jar once the magic has been worked. I don't go through the process of burying it, or I think the only time I've ever gone through the process of doing anything with a jar after creating it was when I worked with Belith. So here's a story. So long time ago, motherfucker, please. Was it a couple years ago? It would have been last year, not 2020 last year, but like end of 2019. Yeah, it would have been end of 2019 because I had did this binding spell for a friend, and I had called upon Belith, and I had bound these two people together. It didn't work, but the point is, I had bound these two people together inside of a jar, and the reason it didn't work is because I didn't have something of his. I just had all of her energy, so it just was it didn't work, okay? This is a life lesson that I learned, okay? People are laughing at me. People are making fun of me. I don't care. Bully me all you want. Break my spirits. So anyways, so I do this spell. I take these two candle wax figurine thingamabobbers, and I put them together, and I twine them up, and I burn the flames, and we've dressed, and everything's burning down, and so then I take this jar afterwards, and I take it to a graveyard, and I leave it on a specific grave that Belith wanted me to leave it on. And I was like, I don't know these people. I don't know these people who I is leaving this snazzy jazz on, right? Like, I don't know these people. Maybe it was 2018. I don't know. I feel like it was in the Grimoire. Is it season 1 or season 2? It's probably season 2. Anyways. You're like, can you stay on topic? I'm very stoned and I'm trying to tell you my story, so just relax. And Lunar Wisdom's like, oh, Christ, what a shit show. No, honey, your political system is a shit show. So I leave this jar with the candle wax and all of the fun stuff on this grave. Again, I have no idea who these people are. They're dead people, right? Dead people. And the spirits in this graveyard, holy bananas. And all you see around you is spirits, and Belith is there. Well, he's not like there. It's like a presence. And it's like just a very dark, very shadowy kind of presence, and he's just there. And so I'm leaving it there, and we leave money for the dead, and then we hightail the fuck out of there, because the energy was just, oh my god, it was too much. Okay, it was like going through half of Ember Honeyraven's Instagram stories. Okay, I'm just like, honey, this is too much. I have seen things I can't unsee. I need therapy. You're like, we've been telling you this forever. I don't listen to anybody, okay? So anyways, so when it comes to jars, when you're done with them, I would dispose of them in a manner that is environmentally friendly and also not throwing them in a river. And don't reopen them. Oh, and let's talk about jar magic for a moment, right? Like, let's go over some of the basics of jar magic. Like, we should all know this, right? I don't know. Maybe somebody who finds my channel and, like, thinks that I'm mildly entertaining will get to this part in the video and be like, oh, great, I actually get to learn something now. It's the whole reason I came here. Like, wasted 8 minutes of my fucking life. When it comes to jar magic, when you seal the jar, when you close the jar, when you put your stuff into the jar and you've put your intentions inside, right? When you've done all of that fun stuff, and then you put the lid on top, and then you put a candle on top, or maybe you don't. But however you seal that jar, whether it's burning a candle on top or not, don't reopen the jar. I don't have a valid reason to tell you not to. It just doesn't make sense. Right? So it's kind of like you've built a machine to do a task, and it's doing the task, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna open you up and like put more shit in you. And then it's like, oh, now I'm like trying to do the task, but you're adding, like, let the spell play out is what I'm saying. And if you're finding yourself in a situation where you're like, I need to add more to the jar, or I want to add more to the jar, then maybe you could do a like a spell that's kind of like a booster spell. So from my understanding of what a booster spell is it is a spell that you do alongside an actively working spell to boost the power of that spell or the boost the intentions of that spell. So I've seen this done, and I've never done it, but I've seen this done by the Blue Witch. Sometimes she will talk about certain spells that she's doing for somebody, and they're saying that they're not quite getting the results that they want, and so she does a booster spell or something. And I think I've seen her do it sometimes where like the spell that is currently working, it's not quite working out the way she wants it to, and so she does a booster spell to it. So anyways, if you're finding yourself wanting to add stuff to the jar, instead just do like a candle jar or like a candle working or something else beside it with intentions that you're going to boost this other spell that you're doing. You can kind of visualize that with like energy flowing from this other working that's beside it into the other working and boosting the magnification of that working, right? So maybe the spell that you're doing is a jar candle spell, right? Was that jar magic? Not really. Let's say you're doing a sugar jar spell, right? You're trying to get that man. You want to get some deep, right? Like what woman doesn't want? Well, Amber Honeyraven just wants some titties, so you know what? Let's go with that. You are just trying to get yourself some goddamn jiggly old titties. That's what you're trying to get, some big old titties. And this sugar jar spell that you're doing just isn't. It just doesn't feel like it's got the oomph. It doesn't feel like it's bringing you what you want, the quality titties, right? You just keep getting these saggy old damn things. So then what you could do beside that is you would work this candle spell, right? And you might do like, you might have the intentions put into this candle spell that as it's burning down, maybe you've dressed it in dragon's blood, maybe you've dressed it in roses and lavender, what else could you add to it? Cinnamon, I don't know, whatever else you're adding to your little booster thing. But you're visualizing those intentions, and you're visualizing that as the spell is burning down, the magnification of the other spell is being amplified, right? So now, instead of getting saggy titties all the time, you're getting medium to like big old full jiggly titties, right? Oh, Amber Honeyraven must have loved me. So, today was rough. Packing and downsizing and throwing away. Can't sleep. I feel like today was rough for a lot more reasons than what you're thinking it was rough for. Okay, so you're doing this jar spell, and then all of a sudden it is not working anymore, right? We've all had that where we're doing, let's say we're doing a money jar spell. We'll get into the different types of jar spells that I have personally done and how I've put them together. And I have videos on my channel if you're interested in going back in time and seeing them, because I need subscribers. Okay. I need people to watch my shit and be interested in my content, right? This is what I need. And I need you people in the comment section, okay? You know, where you type shit, to type out your desires for my channel. Like what shit do you want me to talk about? What content? What interests you? What books are you reading? What channels are you watching? What reviews do you want me to do? These are the things I need to know, right? I'm getting very old and I've run out of topics, so tell me what you want or I'll fade away into obscurity. Okay, so you're working your money jar spell because you've decided to put together a money jar spell to make sure that you have rent coming in at all times, right? Honestly, what I would do, you know what, let's change this example because it's just not working. So you're working a money jar spell because you're trying to attain financial stability by attaining a job. And your intentions is that once you attain that job, you're going to take that jar spell, which I did not do, So pray that I continue to have financial stability. And you're going to put it in the freezer. Okay, this is called a freezer jar spell. You should all know what a freezer jar spell is, okay? You work some mojo, you work some shit, okay? It manifests, you stick it in the freezer. Or maybe there's a situation that's happening, you stick some shit in a jar, you put that situation in a jar, and you stick it in the freezer, right? To get rid of it and all that fun stuff. So, let's say you're working this money jar spell to get that financial stability, right? Because we all need that financial stability. We des be house. Did I tell you people that I'm poor? Like, holy shit, I am so poor. I don't have the pennies you think I have. I have no pennies. I'm penniless. That's how penniless I am. Anyways, so where was I going with this rambling nonsense? Money jar spells and job financial stability. Thank you, Solitary Luna. So you're doing this spell and you've put all of your stuff inside of it. You've put some money inside. You've put, I don't know, herbs for financial stability. Maybe you put some oil inside. Maybe you've put some petitions inside. Maybe you've made a jar baby. Maybe you've made a frog because you're tequila. Maybe you've made, I don't know what you've made and what you put in your jar, but you've put shit in this jar and then you've sealed the jar and you've put candle on top and you're working the candle, right? So you're burning it down, and you're doing the mundane, and we all know what the mundane is, right? Right? We're going out, we're applying for jobs, we're not just sitting on our ass, eating bonbons, expecting it to rain out of the sky, right? We're doing our work. And it's not manifesting. So you're doing your divination and you're being told that there's a blockage. So what do you do when your jar magic just doesn't work? This is where, again, what I was talking about with these booster spells, you could do beside it a candle spell, okay, to open the road. You could do a road opener beside the spell. This is what I mean by doing like the helper or booster spells. I don't know what the hell you want to call them. Call them whatever you want. But it's basically a spell that is designed to help the original spell amplify itself in some way. So in this case, maybe you do a candle spell beside it, and the intentions that you're putting in and the dressings that you're using for it are road openers, and you're putting road opener intentions in, right? And you're inadvertently putting those intentions into the jar spell that isn't working because you're being told through divination that there's roadblocks, right? So that is kind of a way to help a spell. And this can, of course, just work for any other spell, right? Like, it doesn't have to be like a jar that you put shit in and you seal and you burn shit on top. It could be for a candle spell, right? Let's say you're doing like one of those 7-day candles and it's burning down and it's fine, and then it's getting black and it's getting nasty. And you're being told that like shit's being worked against you, right? And like the jar is like cracking. So you could do a spell beside it to counteract the negativity that's happening and just hope that as the candle continues to burn down, that the negativity and the nastiness goes away, right? So, how do you protect your magical workings when you're a witch who's on YouTube? Oh my God, such a fascinating question. So, some witches, at least myself, I don't know about other witches on the internet, but myself, I like to share a lot of details about my craft, including showing you guys workings and putting intentions into my workings and really kind of getting you guys involved in my craft. Holy shit, I have to sneeze. That's a COVID sneeze. You're like, oh, don't say that. So anyways, so how do you know when, oh, wait, no, let's back up. Okay, so you're a witch like me who likes to share their craft on the internet, right? And to be completely dead honest with you guys are only seeing about 70% of whatever the hell it is that I do, right? So I don't have a problem with sharing that level of intimacy into my craft. Other witches do, and that's totally fine. I mean, each to their own. You do whatever you want. Now, if you're a witch like me and other witches who share their craft on the internet, you're going to be the target of stupid people. And these stupid people range in all kinds of varieties, right? Some just want to poke around and see what you're all about with their little magical tentacles, okay? And some want to put puppeteer strings on you, drag you through the mud, and make you look like a horrible human being who should probably just kill themselves. And other people want to actually hurt you in some kind of way because, I don't know, it's the internet. Like, what do you expect? So when you're doing your magics on the internet, you need to protect your magics. And we all know about protecting ourselves, right? There's mirror spells that we do, and there's protection bubbles that we do, and there's hanging dead animals throughout the house, or at least their bones, and there's putting black tourmaline over your doorways and windows, and they're saging your place. Okay, this is more cleansing than anything else, but you get the point, right? We know how to protect us and our space, but do we know how to protect our workings? Some people will cast magical circles. If you don't know how to cast a magical circle, oh my God. Wait, do I know how to cast a magical circle? Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't think I do. Lewis says, bless you. And I say, bless me, bless the Lord. Ooh, bless the Lord. Bless the Lord. Jesus Christ. Amen. So, the hell were we talking about now? I got lost and I got off track. We were talking about jar magic, and then I went down, protecting your magics. Okay, so how do we protect our magics? Well, like I said, there's the casting of circles. Some witches do this. There's different ways to cast circles. I mean, you could go the full-on pagan Wiccan route and cast circles. You could go the Scott Cunningham way, which is not as in-depth as other circle casting methods. You could go ceremonial and cast specific types of circles, and would they be circles? Or would they be pentagrams? Because the books always call them pentacles, but they're huge, elaborate circles that you would draw with chalk and then do your magical rituals inside of. And some people just like to put a salt circle around them, right? So I used to do circles where I would have a pentagram. I would have 5 white candles around me, and I would always be facing in the direction of the pentagram, like the pointy part of the pentagram. The pointy part. Pointy. And I would do my magics inside of there. And as I grew as a witch and became more established in my craft, I decided that I didn't need to do circles anymore. And around the time that I decided that I didn't need to do circles anymore was around the time that I had found YouTube witches, and witches like Tequila and Amber Honeyraven and a couple others. And whenever they would talk about magics, or they would do or demonstrate magics, they wouldn't have circles. And I was like, do you need a circle to do magic? And upon doing the research, a lot of witches at the time when I was investigating doing magics without a circle didn't cast a circle of any kind when doing magics. And I found that really fascinating, because I was like, everything that I've read up to this point has basically insinuated that a circle is used to protect you and the working that you're doing from outside influences and energy, as well as from other, negative energies, right? Like evil spirits. I mean, you have to love the Scott Cunningham books. You have to love the Wickham books, right? They never talk about like evil in the sense of like other witches attacking you, or evil in the sense of like evil spirits or whatever. They always talk about it in like the term of like negative energy, right? So, what is happening here? Hello, Marge. How are you? I think Tequila calls upon the elements unto her space as her circle. However, I don't know if she does this 100% of the time. Exactly, right? Like, we don't know and we'll never know. But the point is that sometimes a witch, and it depends upon the magic that they're doing, right? Like, it depends upon what it is that they're trying to accomplish and get out of whatever it is that they're doing. And some witches, when they're working with more darker entities, more darker spirits, will cast a circle because they will conjure the darker entity outside the circle so that they are protected, right? I don't know of any witches on YouTube that do this, but I do know that Ember Honeyraven has graveyard dirt from a serial killer that when she lived in a condo, that she kept outside of the condo because the energy was just so negative. And so she would have her wards and her, bubbles and whatever it is she has for protection around her house to protect her, not just to protect from the serial killer energy, but from other things too, right? And so that in itself is kind of a circle because you are protecting your space, not just from one negative thing, but from many negative things. So in a sense, when we protect our spaces, we kind of envision a bubble, and a bubble is kind of a circle. So, I mean, it also depends on your definition. As lunar wisdom, for fuck's sakes, that's drilled into my brain now. What is your definition of a circle? Depends on your definition of a circle. I love you, I do. Just some things get drilled into my brain, and I'm like, oh God, I don't know how to turn it off. I am back. My phone went dead. My phone is always dead. How are you? I'm fascinated by what has happened in the United States of America, and I think this will be the first time since Nixon that a president will be dethroned from his authoritarian, terroristic platform. I just hope that he gets charged with treason and sedation, and I hope that he gets prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Okay, I haven't seen a president dethroned since Nixon. Okay. And back then, it was a big thing. It was a huge issue. Oh, God, you people should have been there. It's just terrifying to live through those times. So, anywho, what were we talking about? Oh, casting circles. So when, so some people will cast circles to protect their house, to protect their magics, to protect other people, to protect their pets, to whatever. But when it comes to your magics, let's say you're not the type of person who wants to cast a circle, but you want to, sometimes I swear to God, I just phase out of reality. Sometimes you want to share off your magics on YouTube, right? And how do I explain this? Okay, so let's say you're not the type of witch who casts a circle, right? And you're doing a YouTube video and you're showing off your magics, your candle truth, fakery, bullshit, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing on YouTube, but you're showing off your magics on YouTube, right? And is it safe and is it wise? Is it a good idea to do that? Should people be sharing such intimate levels of their craft? These are conversations that have gone on since the dawn of time. And I think it really comes down to the individual witch and their practice and what they feel comfortable sharing and if they want to or not. Now, how do you protect your magics? Well, you have to be protected yourself, right? And a lot of people don't understand that, right? So they kind of open themselves up in a way for malicious people who are just, I don't know, looking around on the internet and they see this person casting a truth spell or a friendship spell or a marriage spell or a whatever spell. And they decide, I want to turn this spell against them, which is easy enough to do, right? So let's say I'm doing a spell, I'm showing you a spell that I'm trying to heal my friend Sally Birkenstein, right? Like I want to heal my friend because she's sick and she has COVID, and I want to send her healing energies, and I want to show that to YouTube so that I can educate my fellow tubies, right? And so some, kitty cat on the internet comes along and is like, ooh, I'm gonna pervert this spell and I'm gonna turn it nasty and make her get worse and get sicker, right? Like that is a thing you can do because the energies are still there, they're still present. And because you have that view of that particular space of that person's home, right? Like a lot of us witches just walk around with our cameras, and in the background, you get a full tour of their house. Hi, Ravenways, how are you? Right? You could easily just visualize the space in their house and astral project in and work some negative dark magics on that energy, on that spell that they're doing. Let's say they're doing a jar spell, right? They're doing this jar spell to heal Sally Birkenstein because she's very sick with COVID and she's dying. And so, you're working this magics, and this negative Nancy decides to astral project into your place, or worse, send a spirit to mess with your magics, right? It's easy enough for me to watch somebody on YouTube and just send a negative, nasty little spirit over to their house to just wreak all kinds of havoc in their life, right? So this is where having protections is very important when you're showing off visual representation of your house and your craft, especially on the internet, because there's mean people on the internet. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is my first live video of 2021. Don't go there. But this is my very first live video of 2021, and there are still very mean people on the internet. Okay? Very mean people on the internet, and we need to protect ourselves emotionally and mentally and physically from these people. So, my suggestion for those who want to share their craft on the internet is A, do whatever you want, but B, make sure that you have some form of protections up, and also maybe wait until the spell has finished before posting the video, because it is a lot harder to screw with the results of the spell than it is to screw with the actual spell itself while it's in progress. Now, when I am working magics and I am on YouTube and I'm telling you guys, okay, it's time to put on some intentions and cue the music and, all of the fancy danciness, right? When I am doing that, I am also visualizing that the spirits of the dead, the spirits of the earth, the spirits of, the spirits are all around me, and they usually are. And the way that they appear and the way that I know that they're there is that I usually have about 4 or 5 candles on my altar that are lit when I'm doing working a magical spell or I'm showing you guys something. And sometimes I don't have any candles lit. But I can see a shite ton of candles that are lit, and they're like this, right? And they're right in front of me, and they're all around me, and I can feel the warmth, and it feels like I am in an attic, and there's all these candles all around, and it's like I'm working this magic, and the spirits are standing all around me. That is what it feels like half the time when I'm putting intentions into my magics and I'm showing you. So I'm protected by the spirits in that moment, but afterwards, when I go to edit the video and I put the video up, right, and the spell is still going, I'm no longer protected at that moment. So that's when I call upon the spirits again to protect the working. Now, if I'm working with a demon, specifically a king or a duke, or if I'm working with Boone, Boone is very protective of his workings. Or even if I'm working with Astaroth, he's also very protective. The Morrigan, she kind of expects you to, in my opinion, in my craft, she kind of expects you to guard her working, right? Like it's like you've put this up, you've asked her to take this as a petition. It's like a shrine, right? You need to protect that shrine, right? You need to protect those offerings. So that's up to you to protect, right? Like that's the feeling and the energy that I get from there. And I want to talk about how I have a conversation with spirits and demons and the Morrigan. Oh my god, it's just gonna be a fun night, Tubies. Okay, so we gotta go backwards though, because we're still on the other topic. Whatever the fuck that topic was. Oh yes, working with Boone. So working with Boone, he's in the relationship that I have with him is very laid back. But when he is working a particular working for me, he is very protective of his working. He likes to stand over the working at the altar, right? So like he likes to stand over it. When you're standing at that altar, you feel his presence, you know he's there. He might not go anywhere for many hours, and so your house feels heavy. It feels very heavy when I'm working magics with demons, because it's not just Boone or Clonic or Astaroth. It's many, many other spirits that are accompanying them, right? So my house just ends up feeling very heavy and very full, right? And until that particular working is done, my house just keeps feeling that way. And even if I sage it out and cleanse it out, even if the spell is still going, right? I cleanse my house and sage it out, the house still feels full. It'll feel like a sense of cleanliness and it'll feel like it's empty, but then very quickly it will feel full again, right? So the hell was I going with that? Oh yes, so like they will protect the workings that they're doing. And if I'm working with the spirits, they'll also protect the workings that they're doing. But if it's a working that I'm doing on my own, where I'm manifesting using my own energies, which I highly suggest a lot of what you should try. You should try using your own magical energies, right, to manifest your desires. Now, I'm sure a lot of you do it, because I'm sure 20 of you will comment and be like, I do this all the time, and congratulations for you, right? Like, fantastic. You keep doing you, girl. So, but other witches like to work with deity all the time, and other witches like to balance it out. And I'm the type of witch that likes to balance it out, where I will use my own energies, or I'll draw upon the earth, right, to balance out my energies or to stabilize my energies. Because sometimes my energies, people, oh my god, my energies, they're fucking insane. They're all over the place half the time. And I'm like, we need to ground ourselves deep within the earth and just let the earth's vibrations well up through us and manifest our realities and desires. And we need to accept the things that we cannot change. So That's really all I have on protecting your magics. You're like, there was nothing of substance in there. Well, no, sort of. I told you to put a circle around your magics, right? Like you could put your magics on a mirror that's upside down, right? Like don't put it upright. It'll be like, oh, here's what I'm working on. Put it down right? Or sometimes I will wrap my jar magics in tinfoil because that will also repel magics, especially if I know I'm going to upload that video right away. That will repel magics because tinfoil is very reflective, right? Like, don't fuck around, people. Don't mess with my magics. I only use my own energy because I personally don't work with any entities or deities. I find a lot of witches do, and I find a lot of witches don't, and I find a lot of witches work with Jesus Christ. I don't understand that, but okay. I mean, you do you. So I want to talk to you about how I communicate with my gods and goddesses and spirits and all of my entities. Okay, so it's difficult to explain because it's gonna make me sound batshit crazy, but I mean, this is the witchy community on the internet, and a lot of people in the witchy community are batshit crazy. But you know what? I love you and I respect you because of that. So, you know, keep that in mind the next time you're trying to kill me and my family. So, with your evil, evil magics. When it comes to working, when it comes to talking with the Morrigan, it is not a voice. It is not, well, it can be. It is energy. At the fundamental core, there we go, words, is energy. It's all energy. So it's not that I have voices in my brain cells. And I do a video on this. Okay, so y'all know how I've got videos coming out in February all the way up till April, and it's like 3 a week. Yeah, we already know that shit. Okay, great, fantastic. Now, in one of those videos, I talk about how we can't share, and I've talked about this with Lunar Wisdom, but we can't have a conversation, like we can't share having a conversation with our god or goddess on the internet because we'll seem batshit crazy. And think of that whatever you will, but I want to share what it's like to have a conversation with them by trying to explain it the best way I know how. And it's not like I have voices in my head, because in that video I say that it kind of is like voices, but it's voices. How do I put this? It's like words that just pop up into your brain that don't make sense until the situation hits you, right? It's kind of like, sometimes it's like a warning, sometimes it's like a cryptic feeling, right? Like it's energy that, and when I'm talking with the Morrigan, it's pure, unadulterated, unfiltered energy that I can translate through the tarot cards, right? Like it's a feeling, it's like feeling the energy levels move up and down based upon how you're interpreting it, and as it moves up, it's like it's getting warmer to whatever it is that they're trying to tell you, right? Like and sometimes communication is very visual. Like it could be a deer that pops out into the street, or it could be crows or ravens or whatever. But when it comes down to like talking with them, right? Like you're at your altar and whatnot, for me, it's a form of energy. Like you get this feeling like you want me to do something, and then you get these pictures of what it is that they want you to do. Like for me, I'll get this picture of there's a white candle, there's a jar, okay, there's these herbs, and I can see it burning and I can smell the incense. And then you put it together and you're like, oh, it's a spell to do this, or it's an offering, or it's a this, or it's a that. And then when you don't do that, and those pictures keep flooding through your brain, and you get this overwhelming sensation of needing to do something, right? Because they keep reminding you and telling you, right? And you're being a fucking moron, so listen to us. You're not listening to us. And sometimes they have other ways of showing you, right? But for me, the spirits at least like to hide things on me. They like to misplace things. Like there was one day the spirits wanted patchouli, and I was like, I don't have patchouli in the jar, and I'm too lazy to get patchouli out of the bag. Like, you're just gonna have to wait. And I went to get my vape, which was on the couch, because that's where my vape was. It was on the couch, okay? And it wasn't on the couch. And I went looking around my house looking for that goddamn vape, and you know where it was? It was in the kitchen. Pesky little fuckers moved my vape because I wouldn't get them no goddamn patchouli. So, you know, sometimes spirits will do things in the physical. Sometimes spirits will do things, right? And they will show you that they are not around. Okay? So listen to them. Do what they tell you to do. Okay. Now the relationship, I've never really described the relationship that I have with the spirits. Like when I talk about the spirits, what are the spirits? Who are the spirits? The spirits of the dead, the spirits of the ancestors. I don't know who my ancestors are, but I know I have spirits of my ancestors. And the spirits of the land, of the earth, of the elements, the spirits, right? Mostly the dead. It's mostly the dead. I love working with the dead. The dead are so mysterious and cryptic and dead and dark, right? Like it's painted as necromancy. It's painted as dark and vile and just like, I don't know, gruesome, right? Like I don't understand how working with spirits of the dead is a form of necromancy. I mean, I do, because dead people, but it's not like I'm gonna reanimate a corpse. Okay, so like just shut the fuck up. But I like to work with the spirits, and the relationship that I have with the spirits, I've got 3 graveyards around me, but the relationship that I have with the spirits is that I do what they say, when they say, most of the time. So, and they have a very interesting temperament. They like to request things all the time. So their favorite thing is patchouli, as I like to burn all the time. And I put patchouli in every spell that I'm doing because it is an offering to the spirits. Now, if I could get my hands on some tobacco, I would probably use tobacco for the ancestors. Okay, patchouli in my craft is a herb that is a representation of the dead. There are other herbs that I have that are also a representation of the dead. Mugwort would be a good one. Wormwood would be another good one. Osha root would be a good one. What other herbs could I use? Eye bright, so that you can open your eyes and see, because eye bright's really great for the psyche. Okay. Some have a wild sense of humor. Spirits don't just have a wild sense of humor. Spirits are cunts. But anyways, working with the spirits is very... How do I put this? it's a very do as we want type of thing. Like they have things that they want from me, and it's not that I can't call on them, because I do call on them. And I think they have that kind of relationship because I depend upon them so much. At the end of the day, I fall back to the spirits, right? And it's the spirits are the easiest ones to keep happy because it's white candles and patchouli, and I've got tons of patchouli, right? So, and it's what I don't have tons of is coals. And do you know why I don't have tons of coals? Because I'm very, very fucking poor. Tequila's sitting over here on her channel talking about doing haul videos, and I can barely afford to put bread on the damn table. Oh, I need to do a haul video. I do. I swear to be, one day. You're like, how about we get stable first? I'm working all the magics I can. I'm working all of the magics. Anyways. So, communicating with the spirits is a series of words and pictures that eventually line up to tell me exactly what it is that they want from me. Now, communicating with demons is visual images of shadowy figures. And when I reached out to Boone, it felt like there was this hand on my shoulder. Not like this, but like the other way, right? Like I can't do it, but like as if they were like grabbing you from here, right? And they were these long metal claws, and it was just these two like Joker like faces that were just like, or jester like faces that were like staring at me, but with their smiles that went all the way up here. They were just trying to distract me, because that's what Boone wants. Boone is a kind of trickster. The relationship we have is he's very much like a trickster. He likes to play his practical jokes and pranks, and when I'm working magics with him and I am conjuring up his energies and I'm conjuring up his being, his manifestation, he is just a very trickstery type of demon who likes to fuck around before he shows up and asks you what it is that you want. And so, and I've said in the past that demons don't come alone. They come with their posse, right? And they've got legions of spirits. Now, they're not going to bring all their legions of spirits, but they're going to bring a shit ton of legions of spirits. And when these demons show up, and I have said in the past, and I stick by this for witches who are inexperienced in working with demons, the easiest and most effective and possibly safest way to work with them is to work with them on the astral plane. Okay. And as you get a little more experienced and you develop a relationship with them, and they don't show up with so many of their spirits because they know you and they trust you and they have some form of, again, like I said, relationship with you, you can conjure them to your magical space. Maybe you have a doll that you've created. Maybe you have, right? Like most people, when we conjure up Hecate or we conjure up the Morrigan, we're not like conjuring them like physically to our house. We're conjuring their energy, right? So it gets a little safer to conjure up and manifest their energy and place it into your magical working to do whatever it is that it's doing, right? So when it comes to talking with demons, they are a voice. And this is where it gets weird. This is where it makes me sound like I'm some batshit crazy, insane person. How do I put this? There was some funky ass fucking energy in this house right now. Right? Like I'm sitting here and I'm trying to have a conversation with y'all, and I'm like, where is this funky ass energy coming from? Like, this is some funky energy. I don't appreciate this funky energy. Okay. If you sitting in your house right now, projecting your funky ass energy, motherfucker, I salute you. But it's when demons and I are speaking, it's literally like a voice in your head. You know how we all talk to ourselves in our brain, right? Like, oh, I forgot to go get the milk, or oh, I forgot to take my key out of the car and put the car in park, and now the car is driving away down the hill with the baby in the back, and there's an oncoming train, and oh, life insurance. Let Gecko help you. Or is it Geico? Are they car insurance? I don't know. There was a really dark, morbid joke about life insurance and babies. I'll let you figure it out. So, it's like a voice. It's you hear this other voice in your head. It's not your own. It's disembodied. It's not like on television. It's weird and different. Like you know when you're watching like one of those like fantasy TV shows and they get this like voice in their head and it's like ooh and you like get this other voice and they like talk and you can hear. It's not like that. It's this energy presence that surrounds you and fills you, and you hear a voice that says snippets of words here or there in some disembodied voice that isn't your own and just wigs you out. Like it sounds like it's whispering in your ear or like it's shouting off in the distance or whatever, but it sounds like it's in front of you and all around you at the same time. I don't know. It's weird to describe. The funky energy that I'm feeling is like, I don't know. It's this weird kind of heavy sinking energy that comes and goes. I don't know. I'm gonna have to investigate it after I get off of this live chat, Miss Solitary. Oh, girl, if you on Messenger, Miss Solitary, I'ma message you because this feels like some funky ass fucking energy. And I'm not one for funky ass fucking energy. Like this just feels funky. So, anyways, so that's kind of how it feels to talk, or not feels, but how it's like to talk with demons. With the Morrigan, like I said, it's just energy. It feels like energy. Now, sometimes I get a visual cue. Like there was this one time I was driving back from a hike that I went on in Bragg Creek, and I was driving and I looked out the window and I had saw this giant coin in the bushes, massive coin. And it had this lion, this giant lion that was protruding from the coin on it, like a lion head. And it was just, it was bizarre because it was Boone and I could feel his presence and he was just there and then the next minute he was gone, right? So sometimes it's very visual. There was another time that the spirits were very active where me and my friend were driving down this sketchy dirt road. Like we love our sketchy dirt roads, but we were driving down this super sketch dirt road through this super sketch forested area in the middle of nowhere. Because we're insanity. And the spiritual energy, because it was like, I think there were Native Americans in that particular area at one point, and the spiritual energy there was so intense and so off the charts that you could see them everywhere. And you would see spirit animals everywhere, mostly deer and elk and moose and, you know, littler spirit animals, but like it felt mystical and magical. So sometimes the spirits will show themselves that way. I sometimes have a little old lady who appears in my house, like at 3 o'clock in the morning. She's just like, oh, hi. She doesn't actually say anything. She just appears by the bedroom door and she just looks in. It's creepy. It's super fucking creepy. So, and Ashtaroth. Oh, when Ashtaroth appears, it is this blinding light that will just completely blind you. And it's hard to describe because it's not like you're physically blinded. It's like you're I don't know how to describe it. I'm sorry. I don't. It's like an energy overload. It's just too much all at once, but it feels like it's totally fine and like you can handle it, right? Like that's kind of how it feels. And he's just a very overwhelming presence. And see, there's that energy again. Sounds like a place I would seek out, right? Dead people everywhere. You have to love dead people. Anyways, so I wanted to do this very first live chat of 2021 because I haven't done one yet this year. And I don't know when the next one will be. Maybe it will be in 6 months or 10 months or 100 months. I don't know. I love all of you though. I really hope that someone somewhere learns something from this. Okay. Bye-bye.